Hey guys, Just Learn Magic here, and we're coming up to the end of the Theros Beyond Death spoilers. Only about 52 left, and by about I mean exactly 52 left. But I'm already hearing rumblings that today's spoilers are absolutely crazy. Or at least some of them are. I haven't really looked at them yet, but let's start with Mind Rack Harpy. So it's a 3/2 for 4 enchantment creature, which is always nice. Flying at the beginning of combat on your turn, each player puts the top 3 cards of their library into their graveyard. Oh, that's nice. That is powerful recurring self-mill. I almost wish this was a weaker creature and costs 3, because 4 is a little late to get that started, but this is good. And then, I mean, you got your flying defense in the air, or you could hit him for 3 as a backup win condition, in addition to whatever you're going to do with your graveyard. So very, very, very solid. Next up, Swimmer in Nightmares. Now, what is going on with that arc? Because that's Ashiok's signature windsock head effect thing. But that is definitely not Ashiok. So it does say that the subtype is Nightmare Merfolk, so maybe it's an illusion, it's a nightmare, it's all mental. This doesn't actually exist. And the flavor text is like purposely vague. It says Ashiok's minions plumb the depths of the ocean, so like physically. Oh, but and the psyche. So, I mean, are they just imagining the ocean? Like, are they really there? Interesting. And by the way, I think this is a Planeswalker deck card. Quite a few of these are actually. I think the last one might have been as well. So Swimmer in Nightmares gets +3/+0 as long as there are 10 or more cards in a single graveyard, so yours or your opponent's. And I mean, that'd bring it up to 4/4 for 3, which is no joke, especially in blue. And then it can't be blocked as long as you control an Ashiok Planeswalker. So, okay, clearly from the Planeswalker deck. Pretty vicious card, though, I will say. And honestly, 1/4 is pretty good defense in the meantime. So next up, we got Ashiok's Forerunner. We got a 3/3 for 5 here with Flash, and when it enters the battlefield, you search your library and or graveyard for a card named Ashiok Sculptor of Fears, which is obviously the front card. Reveal it and put it in your hand. If you search your library this way, shuffle it. So it's just your blah fetch card that's in every Planeswalker deck. Next up, we got Sunlit Hoplite. It's a 2/1 for 2 human soldier, and as long as it's your turn, it has First Strike, which is always nice. I think First Strike, like being full-blown First Strike, is a little much when it's on both turns, because then you can use it defensively or offensively. Little too flexible in some cases. It can kind of get on your opponent's nerves, but making it just on attack really limits what you can do with it. As far as like, oh, I've got 5 First Strikers and I'm just going to sit here and do nothing and you can't swing at me. Very annoying. So I do like that they're taking that off of certain cards. And then also, it gets +1/+0 as long as you control an Elspeth Planeswalker, which will make it 3/1 on the swing. So still a good card, just more of a fair card. Next up, we've got Eidolon of Inspiration. Now, it's a shame that this is a enchantment creature double devotion, which is about a 67% devotion card, which is pretty good. And then, like I said, enchantment subtype on top of it, so make it something going with that. But it's in the Planeswalker deck. Oh man, but at least it's an uncommon. Maybe you'll see 2 or more in the deck, so maybe they won't get outrageously expensive if somebody really wants to go all in on white devotion. But regardless, it's a 2/2, and at the beginning of combat on your turn, target creature you control gets +2/+0 till end of turn. That's crazy. I mean, in a white life gain trigger deck that has white devotion, or in a pure white devotion deck, this would be amazingly good in both cases. Next up, Elspeth's Devotee, another card with Michael Jackson on it for some reason. Anyway, it's 3/3 for 4, double devotion, always appreciated. And whenever it enters the battlefield, you may search your library and your graveyard for a card named Elspeth Undaunted Hero, reveal it, and put it in your hand. If you search your library this way, shuffle it. So yeah, it's a fetcher, but it's double devotion. That's nice. So next up, we got Hero of the Pride, another cat soldier, and this is not from the Planeswalker deck. I believe all the ones from now on are not. It's a 2/2 for 2, and whenever you cast a spell that targets Hero of the Pride, creatures you control get +1/+0 until end of turn. So not as crazy as permanently dropping a counter on them, but still good. So in a Selesnya Flood deck, which it looks like might kind of be a thing, this would be nuts. And it wouldn't really be all that bad in a deck that's white life gain or white-black life gain, so I would definitely run this. Next up, Favorite of Iroas. It's a 2/2 for 3 with Constellation. Whenever an enchantment enters the battlefield under your control, Favorite of Iroas gains double strike until end of turn. That's just fun. Like, double strike, its damage output goes up to 4 right off the bat, automatically gets 2 first strike out of it. And on top of that, if you have some kind of equipment, aura, whatever on this, Ooh, that could be really good. So dropping this in fairly early for a 3 cost, you would just keep triggering it over and over and over, and I mean, that could be devastating. Next up, Heroes of the Revel, 4-4 for 5. When it enters battlefield, create a 1-1 red satyr. I gotta think how to pronounce that every time. Red satyr creature token with this creature can't block. You know what? Screw the satyrs. These dumbass social justice warrior idiots who have zero respect for anybody's culture or anything. They're basically just ignorant, racist, dumb fucks who like yelling at people on the internet, have failed to realize that all satyrs are male. Like, in actual reality, in actual respecting Greek mythology, they are all male. In fact, I believe all nymphs are female. And like one other thing they got in the set, like people were outlining that in a couple of my videos in the comment section. I'm like, oh, that's right. That is true. But no, guys, not having female satyrs would be exclusionary and sexist, despite it being accurate. And I know I said like respecting like Greek mythology and religion. I mean, who the hell practices that anymore? By the way, the answer is not nobody, but still. I mean, it's called mythology for a reason. It's not like they're like rewriting Islam or something here, but it definitely has all the markings of we're gonna do revisionist history because equality, and really just comes off as insensitive, stupid, offensive, and sexist. As usual. In fact, their last foray into this bullshit was when they took, I believe it was like French, Italian, Portuguese, and Spanish cards. It's basically all of them. And they purposely translated the card incorrectly to eliminate like gendered adjectives and stuff, which really don't mean what like you'd think they would mean in English in the language that they're actually in. Like when you say ellos in Spanish, it literally just means generic them, not those guys. It means the word them. It is by its definition gender neutral. But if you're referring to a group of things that like the nouns are considered feminine nouns, but not literally female nouns. It's how the language works. It has nothing to do with human gender. And then they switch it to eos because eos is offensive. That's just grammatically incorrect. You're not fixing sexism in the language. You're just showing that you're a dumbass. And you can't be bothered to research how gendered adjectives and nouns work in that language. You're just like, well, that doesn't sound right to me, so I'm going to change it. They need to change their whole language to suit me. And at the same time, I'm too lazy to research if that's vaguely correct in any way, shape, or form. And then it just comes across as like a typo, and people are like losing their shit about it in other countries, by the way. If we didn't hear about that whole debacle, now we've got female satyrs for some reason, and I already know their defense is the same bullshit they pulled for Kamigawa. Well, it's not really Greece. This is mythical space Greece, everybody. We can have female satyrs if we want. It was just like, yes, we actually researched Japan, and that is a period accurate kimono that they're wearing. And then somebody points out, that's not how any of that worked. That's just how dumbass white people think that samurai did things. Oh, this isn't real Japan. This is space Japan. This is pretend Japan in the multiverse. It's like, no, you literally just got done saying that you're using period accurate kimonos on purpose and are trying to be accurate to Japanese culture and history. And then as soon as you get called out for screwing something up with some bullshit offensive stereotype that dumb people believe who don't do their research, then they're, oh, no, this isn't real Japan. Nope, space Japan, everybody. Oh, it's this bullshit two-faced just misrepresentation. It is so transparent that they're just trying way the hell too hard to just force this bullshit diversity and equality and all this other stuff. And then at the end of the day, just like every dumbass SJW on the internet, it just comes across as racist, sexist, and ignorant. So if you want to fight back against this lefty bullshit, don't forget to keep pointing it out to them, to the Wizard staff, to their face publicly on social media. They love it when you do that. Like every time they tweet, oh, here's a new card, reply with, there was no female satyrs, right? But equality and representation, and females play the game too, and they want to see a female character, and they just reply with, yeah, but that's not accurate. Hashtag revisionist history, even though it's not history, it's mythology, but whatever. All right, so that was my filler rant about all their social policy bullshit that's getting on everybody's nerves. If you don't care or you're sick of hearing about it, first of all, you're probably an SJW and you're part of the problem, or, too bad. Welcome to my channel. We're gonna keep mentioning it because I want it to stop. And if you want a little entertainment, it's been at least a day, look for pinned comments from butthurt SJW activists. The best ones, I'm going to pin all of them. Or favorite all of them, or whatever, because you can only pin one, whatever. They'll be on the top. So anyway, the bottom of this card is whenever you cast a spell that targets heroes of the Revel, creatures you control get +1/+0 till end of turn. So another instance of that, but this is a 5 cost, so But you get a free token with it. So in some kind of like black-white ambush deck, I think 5 is way too high for how bad this is. And you wouldn't really have enough creatures to truly flood. So would it be good for Gruul? Maybe. But a lot of Gruul decks don't even bother with like Might of the Masses because it's more like 3 big creatures coming at you, not like 12. So I don't think you'll really get your money's worth out of this card. Or your mana's worth. Next up, okay, seriously, Deutschland, what the does this even say? I'm not even going to try with this one. It's apparently Loathsome Chimera. And it has the amazing ability of double umlaut. Just kidding. It has Escape 5. It's a 4/1 for 3, and it has Escape 5. You got to XL 3, though, which is pretty flexible, and it escapes with a +1/+1 counter on it. So the second time it comes back, 5/2. Kind of neat, kind of interesting. Nice little insurance policy, even in a mono green deck. So, you know, it's doable. Next up, we've got Nightmare Shepherd, which is finally a double black devotion card for Forest, so 50% devotion. Not the best, but not terrible. I mean, we've been seeing nothing but 1 devotion card, so I'll take anything at this point. This is a Flying Demon, which is also a 4/4, so hello. Also an enchantment creature. We're getting better here, and whenever another non-token creature you control dies, you may exile that creature. If you do, create a token copy of that creature, except it's a 1/1 and is a nightmare in addition to its other types. So basically, if it had a really good enter the battlefield effect, or maybe like a really good on-hit trigger or a really good activated ability, you could get some serious mileage out of this. Now, that said, if that everything I just said only applies to like 1 or 2 cards in your deck, this is still a double devotion flying 4/4 for 4. This is one of the all-around best cards we've seen in the entire set. I do think with the right combination of creatures, this is going to get kind of annoying because it could bring back like a Hushbringer. Or even that protection from multicolor X cost snake, because it would bring it back as a 1/1, so it wouldn't instantly die, but it would still have protection from multicolored. So they're trying to swing with like a 10/10 multicolored creature, and you just keep blocking it with protection from that and reach, and they finally got rid of it. Nope, actually it's coming back. But that's the point. This is a very annoying card. I don't think you can do anything terrifically, blatantly, horribly degenerate with it too easily, because you got to kind of set up a board state. And instead of killing what they don't want to come back again with a crazy ETB, they could just, you know, target this and kill it. But that said, this is so powerful. This is a wonderful example of a fair, interesting, powerful card that immediately people want to put in their deck, but it's not like oppressive, it's not game ruining, it's just good. Like, this is the power limit right here. This is as far as they should go with any card ever. Next up, we've got another one of the intervention cards. It is Thassa's Intervention. So we got double blue plus X. Choose one. Look at the top X cards of your library. Put up to 2 of them in your hand and the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. Oh my god, it's literally just drawn from dreams. And then second, counter target spell unless its controller pays twice X. So Syncopate on steroids, which it's really just slightly less reliable than just a vanilla cancel, so I mean, don't get too excited. So, a blah generic counterspell, oh boy, which in all likelihood is going to cost you more than 3 anyway, and then some just degenerate combo fetching prison deck horseshit. Oh, Thassa, they done ya dirty this time. The card Thassa is just combo fetching, shutdown, control-a-thon shit. And then you got all the, like, cast something during your opponent's step and get a free freaking combo meal with fries and a drink. That's on, like, 3 or 4 blue cards. And then on top of it, you get this, where you can just dump mana into it and just go get your combo. You could go get Jace. You could go get the Merfolk version of Jace that's even worse than Jace. You could just run your library out. I mean, oh, I hate this card. I hate Thassa. That sucks. I loved Thassa last time around. I love Blue Devotion. I love Master Waves. They have officially completely ruined it. Blue is by far the absolute winner of the most degenerate color and broken shit that you'll ever see in this set. By far. Nothing even comes close. The way I'm counting it, they're going to have to ban bare minimum 3 cards to undo what they just did with blue in this set. So that'll be fun to deal with until they, put on their big boy pants and decide to actually pull the trigger and ban this shit once they start losing 10% of their customer base again and F&M attendance goes down the toilet again. Yeah, but that'll never happen. Oko. Have you heard of Oko? Did you hear about that? 1 card, not 5 cards, 1 card broke standard. There's like 5 now in blue. So next up, we finally have a reveal of the infamous Shadow Spear, which was on some of the first artwork we saw. Elspeth is holding it. We don't know why, but everybody assumed it's to kill Helion. And it's a 1-drop legendary artifact. Interesting. Equipment, obviously. Equipped creature gets +1/+1 and has trample and lifelink, so we are off to the races already. I love that. And if you pay 1, permanents your opponent's control lose hexproof and indestructible until end of turn. Oh, this is the God killer stick. Oh, that bitch gonna go on a rampage with this thing. And given that it drops hexproof and indestructible, and just the way it looks and the way they're setting it up, I think that she gets this from Ashiok. I think Ashiok either owns and loans her this weapon, or she creates it for her. Oh wait, Ashiok went from clearly a feminine chin and feminine nose to being voiced by a 6'8" fat man in the latest arena sound effects. So I guess I'll switch to he. They say he, she doesn't have a gender. Well, too bad. I'm gonna pick one. F you. So by the way, this also has equip too. So I mean, yeah, it's cheap, it's easy. You can drop it in, just equip it, go. Something died, move it around, cool. And the activated ability is really more important than the equipped thing. I'm absolutely shocked that it doesn't say you can only activate this ability if this is equipped. Because it honestly doesn't make sense. You could just throw this out there, have zero intention to ever equip it to anything, and then still start killing gods with it. That doesn't make sense logically. And I mean, the ability only costs 1, and it's all permanents. It's a blanket ability for 1, untargeted, so it bypasses protection. I mean, call me crazy, but I'd say it would have to be in somebody's hand to do that. I don't know, but whatever. I mean, back in reality, ignoring lore and logic, screw the god card, something needs to kill him, and this is colorless, so, yeehaw, put it in every deck, let's go. This is bare minimum gonna be a sideboard card in just about everything. So, I love this. This is everything I was hoping it would be, and more. Plus, it'd be +1/+1 lifelink trample. Oh, you can put this on a natural double striker or something. This is crazy. You can put it on Swiftblade. Oh, we needed this card. Unfortunately, it's going to get countered, bounce back to hand, and then countered again by Mono Blue. So, completely useless, unplayable, 0 out of 10, let's move on. But after they ban Mono Blue Draw Go Flash, then 10 out of 10, maybe even 11 out of 10. So, next up we got Bronzehide Lion, a 3/3 for 2, and if you pay 2 mixed color, it gains indestructible until the end of turn, unless you stab it with the Shadow Stick. And then ironically, the very next line is when it dies, okay, return it to the battlefield. It's an aura enchantment with enchant creature you control and pay 2, enchanted creature gains indestructible until end of turn, and it loses all other abilities. Got a little pronoun confusion on the last it there, but I assume they mean that the creature it is then attached to. Also, it doesn't say and attach this to a creature, but you just have to know that the rules of the game say if an aura is dropped directly into play from any source other than casting, I believe is the phrasing, then you are allowed to attach it to a target, if there is a valid one available. So, I mean, this card is going to be incredibly annoying, except that it's very narrow in its playability because it costs 2 different colors. So that is a pretty good balancing act. They did make it also a rare, so okay, but my biggest issue with this card is if you were to strap 4 auras to it, and then you always had not only probably a hexproof granting green instant, or God's Willing in white, but on top of it, enough mana to activate that multiple times. In case they, of course, tried to, destroy it twice on the stack or something. So, you can still exile it, it's only indestructible. So, I mean, there are weaknesses, and it's only a 3/3, which, I mean, if you think you could run the whole game with a 3/3, I'm sure that's what they thought about Oko and his 3/3 Elks. It turns out you can't. I do appreciate that they didn't give the other creature that this targets when it dies +3/+3, because that would just be, reverse bestow? That'd be a little much with the whole indestructible thing. So next up we got Helion's Pilgrim. It's a 1-2 for 3, and somebody better tell her that Helion's a dick. Also, when it enters battlefield, you may search your library for an aura card, reveal it, and put it in your hand, then shuffle your library. I mean, a 3-cost fetch, and then it becomes what is traditionally referred to, at least by me, as a block cow, because it just stands in the middle of the road until somebody hits into it. Once the effect goes off, it is virtually useless in combat, but that's the point, and that's why everybody calls them block cows. They are the next thing that is getting thrown in front of the attack bus. And that whole concept has just been hilarious to me. I don't even know why, but there was the famous one that was the, like, enter the battlefield, scry 3, and then after that, just, it is going to get run over. And we had that the last time Theros came around. In fact, I think it was Omen Speaker. Anyway, this is a pretty powerful effect even for 3. I mean, yeah, it's a human cleric, non-enchantment, who cares, does nothing, 1 devotion, whatever, but you get any aura you want, hand-picked. I mean, you could go get some stuff. At least it didn't say enchantment. That would be broken. It does limit it to aura. I almost feel like with how good this is, they should have burned the person's next turn and said put it on the top of your library. So next up, the by far most broken card in probably the entire set. I mean, we've seen some shit, but this is like standalone the most broken. I mean, a lot of the blue cards is like, well, that works together with this, and this. But this just in a vacuum is completely batshit crazy. So we've got Nyx Bloom Ancient, strangely not part of the Titan cycle, but more powerful than them. Okay. I mean, we did already have, I think, a green Titan, but anyway. This is a 5/5 for 7 triple green devotion enchantment creature elemental, so you can do all the enchantment interaction crap. And it has trample because of course it does. And if you tap a permanent for mana, it produces 3 times as much of that mana instead. So not an additional 3 times as much. And it's any permanent. So if you were to tap the Lotus and you get like 7 out of it because your devotion is 7, you actually get 21 mana. What the actual hell were they thinking? Do I even need to say it? That seems a little broken and overpowered. Add this to Wilderness Reclamation, you can now reasonably get 100 mana in Standard with like a non-gimmicky competitive tier 1 deck. So, I mean, if they're going to leave this in play, at least get rid of Wilderness Reclamation, and then on top of it ban, what's her name, Nissa. And all she does to break the game is turn lands into creatures and then double the amount of green that they tap for. Ooh. So yeah, at this point, once you play this, which yeah, it's 7, so you gotta get there, but you're clearly playing a ramp deck, so that shouldn't be a real big problem. You basically have unlimited mana, so I don't think that green has anything that'll win the game other than a 1-turn removed, like, Hydra. But I'm pretty sure if you threw in... Oh boy, this would take me a while to research, so I'm just not going to do it. But I want to say red. I think you could just instantly kill somebody with red by generating like 100 mana and just launching it at their face somehow. I don't know. I mean, you got stuff that summons angels. I mean, that's in white. That's still 1 turn removed. So let's just say, okay, within 1 turn after playing this, you'll win the game. So pretty annoying. I mean, yeah, it costs 7, but 7 in green is basically 4. This says 0 self-defense, but I mean, whatever, who cares? And I'm pretty sure we just saw something that says all your spells can't be countered, or everything above 4 can't be countered, or whatever. And it reduces the cost of this too, if I'm not mistaken. Also, this is an elemental subtype, so this is like 31 flavors of f***ed up right here. So, I mean, yeah, I think they went too far with this card, but not like way too far. I mean, this compared to Scarab God, not even a contest. Scarab God, 10 times more broken than this shit. But will this be completely game-ruining and annoying? Yes, absolutely. I mean, people could gain 100 life with this. There's all kinds of degenerate crap you could do with any combination with any other colors. So, yeah, this is just stupid. So there is good news, though, and it's that I just refinanced $3,000 of my debt that I owe to a 4.99% APR locked in for life. That is a hell of a lot less than I was paying before. It has nothing to do with the card. I just thought, might as well brighten up your day a little bit. By the way, I'm absolutely fucked right now. I'm getting like 20k views a day, which is really high, and I am making 1/5 of what I was before Christmas. 1/5. 80% less money. Like, I remember January was completely f***ed when it came to ad revenues, but like, I don't remember a 5-to-1 reduction. Holy shit. So if you'd like to support me on Patreon, I would very much appreciate it. Also, very shortly, mostly just because I can add custom emojis and that'll be some funny shit, I'm going to be turning on channel memberships so that if you don't want to, quote, go off platform, as they call it, because YouTube is where you hang out, then you could, if you haven't heard of that, like the channel memberships, then you could support your favorite YouTuber directly on YouTube. I do think that their pricing structure and their take and stuff is not like ideal, it's not great. I still think Patreon's better, even though it's run by SGW activist dumb f***s. But if you have a similar feeling about especially the minimums that they charge to be a channel member for anyone, anywhere, I would highly recommend any of you just sign up for YouTube Premium, formerly YouTube Red, because you will automatically be supporting every single YouTuber that you watch just by watching them. They literally pay us based on the minutes that you watch and just divide it out at the end of the month and give us all a portion of your monthly payment. And it's like $9 or something. So like, yeah. Oh, and you never see another ad on YouTube ever again. That's worth $9. And last time I calculated it, these are based on some kind of loose numbers, the average YouTube Red at the time viewer makes me 100 times more money than the average non-YouTube Red viewer. So if you're like, yeah, I watched 20 different channels, I'm not going to be a channel member on 20 different channels. That would literally cost me more than like my house payment. I just want to take like $5 and split it up between all y'all based on what I watch automatically without thinking about it. Like, I would highly recommend that. And also, you'd be taking a stand for how advertisers have been bullying YouTube and telling them what to do and what content to police how and all this crap. You just pay YouTube, they pay us, done. Advertisers are cut out. Bye-bye. When Johnson & Johnson comes in, like, you want to show our shampoo commercials on people who like guns? Oh, well, f*** you and your feelings. Like, who gives a shit? By the way, that was an example. I don't think they were the ones complaining about guns specifically. Could have been them, though. So yeah, if you got some extra money hanging around, January and February are the times that you want to somehow, some way throw it at your favorite creators because we're all broke as shit this time of year. Oh, and we all owe the IRS basically our firstborn child right around April, too. So that's always fun because YouTube doesn't withhold. I owed the IRS like $8,000 last year. So anyway, back to the video after that little infomercial. We've got Revocación Mística. And this card is just funny. I love everything about this. For half the cost of a naturalize, you can just take any target enchantment and put it on the bottom of its owner's library, which I would dare say is safer than their graveyard at this point. I love this effect. I love it. I think they printed the exact same card, but in white really recently. Yeah, put that shit on the bottom of the library. Actually, no, it was a rewritten plummet. It actually was another green card. Oh, keep this theme going with green. Make this an evergreen ability now, Wizards. And the flavor text, if I'm reading this correctly, because the phrasing, the word ordering is a little different than you would normally say it in English. The most normalized way to say it would be, no power is too big to be repelled. It's not word for word, but that's the way we would probably say it. So I think they're going a little far with the whole, oh, whoops, we should probably make a way to stop enchantments because they're kind of a little much right now. They're a little pushed. So I think this was maybe an emergency ad at the last second. I have a suspicion about that. So next up we've got Agonizing Remorse. It's a 2-cost black sorcery, and target opponent reveals their hand. You choose a non-land card from it, or a card in their graveyard. I guess I'll back up there, and exile that card. You lose 1 life. Everybody's sick of stupid cards, stupid hand disruption shit that does this. Even worse is when you get to reveal their entire hand and waste time writing down what the cards are, or in Arena just get to see them forever. You know exactly what their strategy is, exactly what to play when. That's way too powerful for 2, not to mention getting rid of their biggest threat from their hand. I mean, this is just... Yeah, I know it's part of black and it's been part of black for like 26 years. I don't care. We're all sick of it. Thoughtseize was one of the most hated cards last time around. So maybe they should just stop doing this, or bare minimum stop doing it for 2 mana. For 3 mana, like, okay. Oh, but at least they lose 1 life. That makes it all better. If they think that balances it out, they are dreaming. So next up we got Triumphant Surge. It's a 4-cost instant. Destroy target creature with power 4 or greater. You gain 3 life. I just don't like these unreliable cards. There might be a card that's sitting out there kicking your ass that just happens to have power less than 4, so... And obviously, the fact that this costs 4 means that absolutely this was intended exclusively for draft and sealed. You'd have to be crazy to put this in a constructed deck. Run an Exiler for like 3 or 4. I mean, yeah, gain 3 life, cool, but this is still not good enough, cheap enough, fast enough, or reliable enough to put in a white life gain deck. Not by any stretch of the imagination. So next up, we got a Saga Elspeth's Nightmare. This was emailed to, like, everybody, and they called it exclusive. They literally emailed it to, like, all Arena players. Anyway, number 1, destroy target creature and opponent controls with power 2 or less. Okay, good start. Not amazing, but good start. Then 2, target opponent reveals their hand. Oh, good. You choose a non-creature, non-land card from it. That player discards that card. Yeah, screw you too. And then number 3, exile target opponent's entire graveyard. I mean, that all seems lovely and it costs 3, cool, except that those are 3 really different things. You might want to do some of them, I guess. But if you're doing like a black kill heavy deck, you can't just rely on number 1. If you're doing a discard deck, you can't really just do number 2. And if you want to nuke the graveyard, well, you could just do number 3, but you wouldn't want to wait 3 turns to do it. So this is just a strange card. Next up, we got a rare saga, Elspeth Conquers Death. Fantastic. I mean, I would have preferred Elspeth like stabs Helion in the face and then that'd be the artwork, but they ain't going to reveal the ending, obviously. But there she is with the old black smoky stick there. She's probably going to do some damage with that, just saying. So 5 cost double white devotion. That's appreciated, even though this doesn't stick around for long. Number 1, exile target permanent and opponent controls with converted mana cost 3 or greater. Okay. Then we got number 2, non-creature spells your opponent's cast cost 2 more to cast until your next turn. Okay, good luck getting that timing to go off with a 1-turn, displacement. And then number 3, return target creature or planeswalker card from your graveyard to the battlefield. Put a 1/1 counter on counter or loyalty counter on it. So I mean, as much as I hate free casting, that's basically just resurrection from the graveyard. You do have to stick the card in there first, and then also you got to pay 5 and wait 3 turns. So like, that's about as fair as free casting is gonna get. You're giving your opponent a really long time to nuke your entire graveyard or get rid of this card, but it's still free casting, and I still don't like it. Now, if they would have added the phrase, that was put there from the battlefield. There we go. No self-milling. That thing had to have been on the battlefield and killed at one point. Now it's fair to bring it back because it heavily implies that you almost definitely paid for it honestly the first time it came out. So none of this I just resurrected Emrakul bullshit. Now obviously there's nothing like that in Standard right now, but I think it's much more fair to force you to have paid for it at least once at some point. Then you can resurrect whatever the hell you want, however you want. Who cares? Either that or just say mana cost 5 or less. Boom. But nope, they very rarely put proper restrictions on stuff like this, so yeah, we'll see what this does. I mean, can you imagine this in blue, black, white stall? Just saying. So next up, we've got Dream Trawler, a double blue, double white 6-cost Sphinx. Hello. 3/5 flying lifelink. Fantastic. And whenever you draw a card, Dream Trawler gets +1/+0 till end of turn. Ooh. And whenever it attacks, draw a card. So basically, its attack power is 4. And discard a card. Dream Trawler gains hexproof until end of turn. Tap it. Okay, this thing is the slipperiest bastard I've ever seen. This thing gets honorary Bogle status. It gets Bogle of the Year award. They should have called this the self-contained Synergy Sphinx. I love this. It seems like a horribly unfair card that's almost impossible to destroy. But it costs 6 and it's quad color. I mean, come on. I mean, like 4 of it is a color, so it's very difficult to summon in theory. I mean, it's still 50-50 with a leeway of 33%. But you gotta admit, if they paid 6 to get this out, just let them have some fun with it, you know what I mean? Now that said, they're probably just gonna put this in freaking Esper control and do some degenerate shit with it, obviously. That's why they need to limit Magic, standard constructed, permanently to 2 colors per deck. I've been saying it for a year now. They need to do it. Because then your options of just shutting your opponent down and having answers for everything and sideboarding your way out of anything would be completely limited. So what a wonderful card to end on. That is the last one today. We had a lot of interesting cards, a lot to talk about. Thanks for sticking around the whole time. I will see you guys next video.